Welcome back, everybody, to Raise Your Voice podcast by Terre des Hommes Italy in Jordan. Today with us we have Anita Bursheh, a Jordanian visual storyteller and photographer of Palestinian and Syriac heritage. Her work focuses on capturing everyday moments and human experiences, reflecting a deep interest in storytelling, community, and the power of images to connect people and preserve lived realities. So thank you so much, Anita, for being here with us today.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have a chat with you. Thank you to TDH for including me in this project.
Thank you, Anita. It's a pleasure. So I would go ahead and start with our questions for today. So we start by focusing on your work. So as I said, your work often explores identity, memory, personal narratives, this kind of topics. Was there a specific experience that pushed you to use art as a way to express these themes?
I wouldn't say it was one single moment as much as a build-up of small, quiet observations over time. I've always been an observative person, I can say. Like, I always like to be aware of what's happening around me, like people, places, fleeting moments that sometimes we might overlook. And I think that is something that really I'm drawn to that. I've also always enjoyed building stories in my mind. Whenever I'm present at a place, I always think what could people be doing in that building in front of me? How many people are having lunch?
Yes.
Who's having a good time? Who's not having a good time? Who's crying? Who's laughing? So I've always been very curious about the scene that's in front of me, and I think that's what led me to documenting the place that I am present in.
Yes, that's nice. I kind of feel also a bit like that. I don't do it, but when I see an open window in a house, I'm so drawn to look inside to see what's happening.
Me too,
but
yeah.
We cannot always do it.
Yeah.
So another important question about you working in this sector. I want to ask you, as a woman artist working in this region, in the Middle East, what challenges have you faced, if any, when addressing these topics that we mentioned?
A lot of the challenges are subtle. It's not always like direct resistance, but more of an invisible pressure, like how you should present yourself, what's acceptable to share, how much space you're allowed to take, and how much of yourself are you free to show. There's this constant awareness that we're being perceived and sometimes maybe judged, but I think that goes for everyone, not just women, but maybe women specifically. Sometimes when it gets too personal or too emotional, people can be a bit reserved to show that kind of vulnerability and emotions and feelings, and maybe you hide a bit of yourself to be acceptable for society, let's say. But with time, honestly, I stopped trying to make my work fit into those expectations. If anything, that tension became part of the work itself. And to be honest, the more I was expressing myself like my real self, the more people related to my work. And that gave my work so much more power and freedom, let's say.
That's very, very inspiring, actually. I'm curious to know, how do people you surround yourself with affect you and your work? And more specifically, which women in your life, or also not in your life, inspire you the most, and why?
I would say surrounding yourself with people is one of the most important things you can do to yourself, because sometimes you think that you want to befriend certain people, or you want to be in a certain group, or you want to be with a certain someone, but then you realize that that this environment isn't really working for your soul or for your growth, because sometimes you think that you are growing and you are getting out of your comfort zone, but at the same time certain environments can really affect us very negatively in terms of taking us away from who we really are, and we start rejecting ourselves a lot because someone from that environment doesn't like us the way we are, or someone from that environment is very critical of us and maybe, hiding behind I'm supporting you, I'm trying to encourage you, I'm trying to tell you what's negative about you so you can grow out of it and so on. But it can be very toxic for the person. So we need to be very careful who we choose to surround ourselves with, because definitely it affects us a lot, even if we think it isn't. The women in my life, honestly, like the first people I can think of are my sisters and my mother, my friends as well. I'm very blessed and lucky that, especially lately, I'm trying to surround myself more with amazing women in my life, and I'm very blessed. So basically, every woman I have in my life right now, whether a relative or a friend, I'm very lucky to have.
Nice. I totally agree with what you said about selecting the right people to surround yourself with, because sometimes if some personality doesn't click right with yours, it can influence you and you can lose yourself a bit, as you said. And regarding the women in your life, I want to ask you just briefly if your mom, your sisters and your friends, they all support you in expressing yourself freely, or they sometimes tell you try to I don't know, to set some limits, but for your own good, I mean?
No, totally. Honestly, they're super supportive. That's why I'm very lucky to be surrounded by such amazing women, especially in our day and age. Women tend to be more supportive of each other. I'm noticing that more and more. I don't know if because now I am at this age where women are more, united together, or at this time of at this age, I mean, women just realized how important it is to support each other and to raise each other.
Talking about your personal life, I want to ask you if how do you balance your personal life with your work-wise? If I know that your work is very connected to emotions, but do feelings sometimes get in the way of your work?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to lie and say, I completely separate my work from how I'm feeling, because it doesn't, because my work really comes from the heart. I don't schedule, for example, my work. I'm not very good at planning, unfortunately. I should work on that more. But I'm not a very good planner, so I like everything I do, every piece of work that I do, every series that I do is really from the heart. So it reflects on my work. Like if you take a look at my work, you might notice that sometimes this seems like a happy post, this seems like a bit blue and melancholic post. So I cannot separate, but I think it's a skill that I need to become better at, because at the end of the day, this is work and it cannot stop because I'm feeling down, or so I'm trying to train myself to separate a bit.
It's not always easy, I think. I do think that feelings can never go away. If you're at work, if you're at home, it's just about learning how to channel them into work or whatever else, sport, and to control them. I think we start doing this when we are teenagers, especially us as girls, I think.
Right, yeah.
So, calling back the title of our podcast, I want to ask you if you feel that art can empower women to speak up in ways that other platforms cannot, and if so, if you think so, how?
I guess I would say that yes, because art doesn't really require permission or explanation. There are things that are sometimes difficult to say directly, especially in environments where speaking openly can feel limiting or unsafe. And it's not just with women, but in general, like art really expresses politics, art expresses love, it expresses feelings, you know, the taboos that usually people are too embarrassed or too afraid to directly talk about. So art is very empowering when that, you know, feeling exists. It also gives space for complexity. Like, you don't have to simplify your feelings, or you don't have to make yourself smaller. You know, with art, you can just be vulnerable and do something that holds contradictions, uncertainty, all at once.
Yes, that's so true, and it's very like empowering about art. Yes, and aside from your work in art with the photography and as a producer and a storyteller, I also want to delve a bit into your work with the Higher Council for Persons with Disabilities, because as a STDH, we consistently mainstream disability inclusion across our projects, and we coordinate our projects with the HCD, with the Higher Council. So I want to ask you, how was that experience for you, and what did it teach you about the realities and voices of people with disabilities? And if you have something specific to say specifically about women with disabilities.
Of course. Firstly, I'm still working with HCD, and honestly, that experience has been very grounding for me. It shifted my perspective from simply observing stories to really understanding the responsibility behind how these stories can be told and what we as humans can do about it. Working closely with my colleagues with disabilities taught me so much on a human level. It made me realize how important it is for communities and societies to move, you know, beyond limited perceptions that we already have. I mean, people with disabilities are fully capable. They work, they express themselves, they influence, they feel everything, you know, the good and bad, and, you know, just like everyone else. They are also capable of doing good and bad. I think a lot of the disconnect comes from the lack of exposure and understanding. We don't really know that much. And therefore, you know, when something's unfamiliar, we tend to hesitate. And that hesitation can, you know, create this distance that exists right now. But once you're in that environment, you realize how much of it is just, you know, about being seen and treated equally. It also made me more aware. This is like an important point that I think we should work towards. It made me aware how much the society itself contributes to the limitations for people with disabilities. You know, because a lot of the barriers that they a lot of the difficulties and the barriers that exist are not inherent, but they are created, or we still did not do anything about them. Like, for example, through lack of accessibilities, infrastructure, and inclusive thinking.
I totally agree. We always see this in our projects, and this lack of possibilities, as in like that translate into accessibility and so on, come also based on our
perception, or
in the perception and the stigma that people have here in Jordan. I say Jordan because we are here, but in all over the world actually, and the lack of talking about it. So that's also why we don't have accessible platforms, accessible infrastructure, because we don't even talk about it, I think. So it's so important always inserting this component in our project, but also in the higher like the work of the Higher Council for Persons with Disabilities is so important, and we hope every year it will be better. So I have one last question for you. If you could leave one message for women who are still searching for their voice, what would you want them to remember?
I think everyone is kind of, you know, constantly or continuously searching for their voice. But when I feel that way, what what I remember is that your voice is not something you suddenly find. It's something you build by allowing yourself to exist as you are, over and over again, even when you are hating on yourself, or even when you're going through a bad moment, or you don't believe in yourself in that moment. You just need to allow yourself to exist as you are. It's in the small choices, what you choose to show, what you choose to keep, and how you choose to see the world. And it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Of course, I'm still learning. What I'm preaching, I'm still learning every day, and I still struggle with applying it. But I keep reminding myself of that sometimes your voice is quiet, and that doesn't make it any less powerful. But just try to choose to express yourself, even if you think that doesn't really make any difference.
No, that's a great message to end our episode with and to spread. So Anita, I thank you so much for today's conversation, and I hope that in the future we will have more in this project or in the next ones. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Julia. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.